This right here is the absolute worst of TCG culture, and that's fake and counterfeit cards. And I want to be discussing this in the terms of flesh and blood, and today I have a fake Channel Lake Frigid in my possession. I recently received this from a gentleman who owns Righteous Gaming, which is an online store on TCG Player. I'll put a link down below in the description of this video to his online store. I've purchased cards from him in the past. Really good transaction, things where I've purchased cards from him. But overall, he had one of these cards. I think he had two fake cards that he had received in an acquisition a couple months back and realized it. Probably paid $10 to $12 per card. Well, now he has to take a loss and he can't sell these. And he heard that I was interested in doing this topic and sent me this completely free. And just to discuss it and relay the information out there about these fake and counterfeit cards, because it's honestly pretty scary, man. I'm a little scared, I'm not gonna lie. So I first wanted to give a big shout out to Righteous Gaming. Honestly, it's really appreciated because it's hard to talk about it but not like feel it, and like when you feel the fake card and really sniff it and just do all that stuff, like you realize certain things. You're like, oh, okay. So anyway, another thing I want to note in this video is I am by no means an expert on telling you what is fake and what is real in Flesh and Blood world. One really good reference piece that came out just the other day is from MinMax Gaming. I'll put a link down below to that in this video. And essentially they made this whole article that says all this stuff about how to identify fake and counterfeit cards. I think that they've had more of an issue with it because they're, a bigger time store. But it is kind of scary because a lot of times, legendaries and fables and the majestics, right, like Command and Conquer, that are like these $100 to $200 $300 cards get counterfeit. But what's scary is like this card is like what, 20 25 30 bucks, and like they're going this low. It just makes you wonder. It's like, well, what's next? Are they gonna like do $15 card counterfeits? It's just kind of it makes you wonder, right? So that's why I think this is kind of like a tipping point in a way, for me, in a way, for really seeing all the stuff that they're counterfeiting. So really going into the heart of this discussion is figuring out, how do you know if you have a fake Channel Lake Frigid? Well, I can help you out here. So we're going to play a little game here. I'm going to hold up one card, and then I'm going to hold up the next one. One is real, one is fake. And you can try to identify which one is real or fake, right? So holding up this card. Now I'm going to hold up this card. One or two, which one do you think is fake? If you guess the second one, you're right. That one was the fake one. So the way to determine, if you have them side by side, it seems like, okay, so I'm going to have the real one on top. The real one has a lot lighter bar than the fake one. You can see the bar on the fake one is really much darker. This was identified to me by the guy in Righteous Gaming. Also in the 2 over there for the resource symbol, it's darker over there, and it is kind of like fadey and everything. And a lot of times when you look at these under jeweler's loops, you can notice like certain things, imperfections. The real card will have a lot more defined characteristics, while the fake one will have like more rigid type of feel to the stuff. The only other big identifier from what I've seen, like just eye level, right? Let's say you don't have a jeweler's loop, you're just a random person just looking at the card. These are like stuff offhand. If you look at the 3 symbol, the one on the bottom is the fake one. You can see that the 3 is just a little bit different font. But honestly, it's not too bad. I mean, the only way you really realize this is, the backs for sure. The back of the fake card is a lot lighter than the real card. But overall, it's impressive. The card quality themselves is pretty similar. But just to kind of reiterate of, okay, Bronson, how do you tell fake Channel Lake Frigids? Honestly, I would probably just look at the top bar, like that blue. It's a lot lighter blue on this real one than the fake one. And then down here, the 3 symbol, you can kind of look. So if I hold them up if I hold them up again, if you want to test your knowledge, Okay, let's do it. So, card number 1, card number 2. If you guess the card number 1 is being fake, you won. That was the fake one. So I just wanted to go over that really quick of just this card in particular, but there are a ton of cards. And this just really goes to show it's really smart to transact with individuals and entities that you believe in, that are actually doing their due diligence and taking on inventory, checking to make sure it's not fake or not, because this does seem to be a variable in the mix that we have here. But next, I just really want to go over why this is the worst in the TCG culture and the TCG space, and why it really hurts players. Now, a lot of people would be like, Bronson, the cards are too expensive. I can't afford those things. I want to just go on Alibaba with my mom's credit card and spend $100 and buy every Flesh and Blood card that's expensive. And, the thing is, it's illegal. That's the big case point in one. You shouldn't buy anything with that's fake, that has Legend Story Studios trademark on it. That's pretty illegal. They own this trademark and they have to defend it. If they don't defend it, then they lose it. So they're kind of like forced into being this person who like goes after people who are trying to infringe on their trademark. A lot of other things are up to snuff too. That's really bad. But ultimately, if you're going to print cards, right? The fake and counterfeit cards are a lot different from proxies. Proxies is a completely separate video. The biggest difference between a proxy and a fake and counterfeit card is the intent to deceive. When you have the Flesh and Blood logo with the Flesh and Blood card back with the legit card in front, you are intentionally trying to deceive someone, right? And if you can't tell immediately that it's a proxy or something, then that's bad. Now, if this had like a yellow bordering on the back and it said proxy with like thick font and stuff, yeah, it's still pretty illegal because you're using the trademark and everything. But at least you're not intending to deceive anyone down the line, because what happens is people might order these 1 month and be like, oh yeah, I got these, and then like 3 months later you just forgot like what was real, what was fake, and you mix them in with all your card pool. You give them to the local game store, and when you're thinking about cards like this that are like buy list $10 maybe, that's not too bad per card. But think about when a big local game store is buying cards for like $100 buy list that sell for 200, and they buy like multiple from you, like Command and Conquers, or Command and Conquers, they'd probably buy lists for like $60 each, but still they're losing a good amount of money on fake cards, especially if they don't spot them at the time of transaction. So it hurts a lot for local game stores and just people in general. So I really want to go into a couple other factors as well. Is that fake cards can have the possibility of kicking you out of a really big tournament if they do deck checks, or if your opponent notices that you're playing with a fake card. I have heard that there was a situation, I haven't confirmed this, but I have heard through the grapevines that there was someone in Flesh and Blood's history who's in a bigger tournament, and they were kicked out of the tournament, or something happened where they found a couple fake cards in their deck and they were booted out, and they didn't know. They thought they were real. They ordered them online. They paid through TCG Player or whatever store, right? Thinking that they were a legitimate card. Were playing the games thinking they were a legitimate card, but then found out right in the middle of a really important tournament. And you think that could make you lose out on really good earnings, especially if you were going to make it into top 8 and you were going to get a gold foil card, or you're going to get some other thing. It's really upsetting, the types of things that can happen. And at the end of the day, it's a tough situation, because a player may not have been intending to do that with the fake cards, but ultimately if they're using cards that aren't directly from Legend Story Studios, it's not valid play pieces in the tournament. So I definitely think that we're going to hear about different situations arising in the future, especially if we were getting into the $20 $30 zone here with these babies. But yeah, no, it's really type of just a shitty situation, you know. And I think that that's kind of the overall vibe of this is that fake and counterfeit cards just add all these shitty situations that really involve many different people, including stores and different players. And one is being kicked out of a tournament. Another really is when you are selling to a store, right? It can screw up your relationship with that store. Because what if the store is auditing your collection that you're trying to sell them and they're like, yep, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. And you're like, okay, you have 4 fake cards out of the 10 you're trying to sell me, right? The store thinks that you're trying to be an asshole and get one over on them. You're thinking, shit, I got like really wrecked when I bought from different people online and I didn't realize. So the store thinks you're working them over. You think possibly that the store might be working you over, like, hey, wait, no, this is a legitimate card. I bought it online. It's real. I know it's real, but maybe it isn't. Maybe you're wrong. So it just adds for all this confusion, bullshit, and ultimately, someone has to pay the price. Someone has to pay the price somewhere down the line. It's either a store, a local game store, who purchased it and through a big transaction and didn't really audit good enough in the get-go, so they have to just write fake on the back of the card and just tear it up or do whatever and lose that potential earnings. Or it's a player who finds out in a tournament, which would be the worst thing. Or maybe they just find out when they're in their local groups or whatnot, or when they're trying to sell their collection out. Like, let's say they want to, they're like, hey, I bought this card for $100 online and I don't really need it anymore as a play piece. I'd like to sell it to a store for a certain reason. And the store's like, oh, nope, this is counterfeit. And I'm going to rip up this card, because a lot of the stores, when they receive counterfeit or fakes, they don't want to give it back to the person. Because if they do, some people might want to sell it to other people, even knowing it's counterfeit. And you have that aspect too, where someone might know it's a counterfeit card, but like, I don't want to get screwed over and incur this loss because of this situation. I want to flip the bill to someone else. But sometimes when they do that, then that other person who they got it from is pissed off that the person sold them a counterfeit card. You get into all these situations. It's just a lot of bullshit, and it really is concerning overall. Like the fake card in this case, right? At first I was like, can I sniff it? And I think at first I did notice that there was like a little bit more of a cardboardy smell. I could be in my mind. There wasn't that like little sweet hint of smell right on the card, but that's not really a good test in my mind. I always sniff every card that I get, so that it is what it is. But honestly, digressing at the end of this video and just saying something a little bit real and just raw. The thing that scares me the most about this is that there are little imperfections here and there. But I kind of get this inkling that it's like intentional, Like they tried their best to make it look as real as possible to the naked eye, but they put some type of imperfections in the card just so they could it's just so LSS wouldn't like go after them or like really try to come down on these people. And that's kind of what scares me. Like the font on the 3 and like all this stuff. Like, and this is just eye level, right? I hope nobody thinks I'm trying to like train the person, and like the person who made this card is like jotting down notes like, well, Bronson's recipe, update the coloring, update. No, I think that they already know this, but of course you can't fake like the jeweler's loop up to this point. Like if you take an actual jeweler's loop or microscope and look at this thing under more layers of eye level that humans can't do, you will notice big differences on that granular level. But I think honestly, that they just intentionally tried to make little slip ups here and there with the coloring and everything, just so it wouldn't be as bad as it could have been, if that makes any sense. A lot of times I think you do have that in life where you're like, let me like capitalize on this just enough, but not enough to where someone's going to come after me or do any investigation or whatnot. So That's really the concern here. And yeah, again, the biggest thing too, I think, is that it's not on just Command and Conquer's Art of Wars, Spring Tunics and whatnot. This is on a $20 to $30 card. I mean, are we going to see like surgical extractions next, or any of the other type of cards? And it's like, it really just sucks overall for everything that I've after said. And the only time someone could say, oh well, Bronson, it lets people play the game and get the cards they need for kitchen table play and stuff, make a proxy card if you want. I'm not condoning that though, because proxy cards are also illegal. Don't do that too. But like, there's no reason you shouldn't make a proxy card. If you're making a fake and counterfeit card, the only reason why you're doing it is the intent to deceive, or giving it to someone and they have like a vehicle to deceive other people with, right? So I just think all around it's super shitty. It creates so many bad interactions and type of things that are just really sad. And I think it is the absolute worst of TCG culture. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Again, I want to shout out again the person who runs Righteous Gaming. Link down below to their TCG player store. They were very nice enough to give me this fake card that they received, and basically they had received it again in just like an acquisition and didn't notice at the time. And then 3 months later, we're like, crap. Fake card, can't sell this again, or can't sell this onto the open market after they acquired it. So big shout out to them for sending me this so I could take a look and give my honest opinion. Because honestly, when you see cards like this online, when you see certain things, a lot of people are like, oh, I could tell the difference of that. I could tell the difference. And they're like, oh, the texture and everything off, the right angles of hypotenuses and everything. And that's all fine and great. But honestly, I'm holding this card in my hand. The texture is pretty damn good. The coloration and everything, you have that issue as well. You do have different defining characteristics if you're actually looking at the card. But just eye level, if you just put this on like a random table, my eyes wouldn't just like glaze over that table and be like, that one's fake. Like, no, like this just blends right in. I think if you're looking at like a stack and you're looking at the back, it will probably like come out. But it honestly is impressive in a scary way, if I just leave off with that. So let me know if anyone has any comments in the comment section down below. Let me know if you got any fakes in your collections that you've found, or any other different cards that you found that have this type of thing. Again, a great resource is the MinMax Gaming link I'll put down below. You can use the promo code Tall Timmy, I believe. Tall Timmy has a MinMax Gaming promo code. Go to his channel to figure out what the promo code is, and then you can use it on that site. Shout out to him. He's a really cool guy. Yeah, that's about it. Cheers, man. Stay safe out there.